Check. Check. Oh. Morning. What up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. Starting the day with some funk, guitar solos, some ripping blues. Feeling good on this Tuesday, January 20th. It's 9 a.m. here on the Best Coast, 11 a.m. Central. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Claims Recruiter Office Hours. Let's go. Say what's up in the chat if you're here. Love to say hello to some folks out there. If you're tuning in, grab a coffee, grab a kombucha, grab a Gatorade, grab an electrolyte drink, grab your AG1, grab your protein smoothie, settle in. This coffee's tasting extra good here today in Portland, Oregon, I'll tell you what. This is Claims Recruiter Office Hours. It's my goal, road to 100 in the year 2026, to help 100 people find jobs in the insurance industry, and that's what we're all about on the Claims Recruiter Office Hours. Let's go. Got some background music. Let's go. At royalty free. This is Otis McDonald. Check him out on Instagram. Rendering issues. That's okay. That fixes it. Maybe not. Ruben here. Starting off with some personal stuff. Spent the weekend in Austin, Texas, where I completed my first ever half marathon. Let's go. Finisher downtown, downhill to downtown Austin, Texas. People of Austin, what's up, dude? That was a great time. First half marathon. If you have not run a race in your life, don't need to do a half marathon. That's tough, but great time. Huge goal of mine was to do a half marathon. I wanted to do it in about an hour 55 was my original goal. Scooted that goal down to 1:45. Ended up finishing with 1 hour, 37 minutes, 26 seconds. That's a 7:26 pace. Let's go. Shout out to all the homies. My homie Elliot, Jordan, Katie running the marathon or the half with us. Shout out Katie. Shout out Matt and Carly supporting us. Shout out Ann and Steve coming down to support us. Let's go. Great time in Austin. What's up, John? Good morning, John. Thank you. Awesome on the half. Great work. Thank you. Yeah, it was awesome. Started this running journey of my life when I started the business. I read a lot of books. A lot of people said you got to go find some other hobby to get your brain, off the business for whatever time you can. So I started running back in July, got serious about it about 3 months ago, really started the training plan, had a great time doing it. I'm not going to get a sticker. I'm not going to get the 13.1 sticker, but I will wear my medal here today for the show where I can bask it in for a short time. Legs are burning. Let me tell you, the legs are burning. 12-hour travel day yesterday, getting back. It was a tough time in the airport, but we're here. We made it. We're alive. We're drinking coffee. We're trying to stay hydrated. We're trying to use the Theragun on the legs. The legs, feeling a little bit better. Hopefully tomorrow we'll be back, and now it's time for ski season. And welcome if you're joining us. This is the Road to 100, the Claims Recruiter Office Hours, where I open up my office every Tuesday for an hour to help job seekers with anything they need in terms of trying to find their next career, whether it be interview tips, resume tips, just general insurance knowledge, anything like that. My office is open. A couple ways you can ask questions. You can drop them in the chat below. You can scan this QR code right here, and that will get you to a form where you can anonymously ask questions so your boss does not see. I'll get those and can answer those on the stream. But today, wanted to talk about something kind of cool, something different. It's going to spend the first part of the show talking about Boolean strings, something that I do, something that I use as a recruiter, and how you can find benefit if you're a job seeker. How can you optimize yourself online so you can become a magnet for recruiters? We're going to talk about Boolean in a minute, and then the second part of the show we'll open it up for questions. Class at Claims Recruiter Office Hour, where the show is yours. Whoever's listening, who's ever out there wants to pop in, and anything's fair game. So before we get to it, I want to talk quickly. Get this up on the screen here. Rise Mentorship Program. This is an incredible program. I talked about it last week. I'm going to talk about it next week, and then it'll be it. Is because the application deadline is February 1st. So Rise is a nonprofit organization that is all dedicated to upskilling people in the insurance world, helping people get jobs, helping people grow their careers, helping people become rising stars in insurance. And one of their many great programs that Rise offers, which is, by the way, totally free, zero cost to you, is mentorship program. So I'm in my running journey, and one of the things that a lot of people have said to me is, hey Josh, like, if you really want to get serious, first off, your time, you killed it, which I know. I say thank you. I know. Yes, I did kill it. But if you want to just keep improving, one of the things you can do is you can go get a coach, and that coach will give you kind of an external view on things, give you their opinion, their non-biased view of ways that you can help improve yourself, get faster times, do longer races, be better, all those types of things. I think that's a really great idea, but also something you can do in your own career. And this is a great way to do it. Is sometimes you need a little outside perspective. Sometimes you need someone else on, kind of cheering you on, telling you, giving you advice. And the Rise Mentorship Program is an amazing place where you can do that for totally free. So how it works, here, let's just pop over here. You go over here, rise.com, riseprofessionals.com /mentorship. If you don't have a profile with Rise, you click this join button right here. It's very quick, very easy, very free. And you get all kinds of amazing resources, programming, community right there on their website that you can pop in and ask questions, talk to people, meet people, network. And this mentorship program is just one of their many programs that you can do. Runs every spring and fall. It's a 3-month structured virtual program where industry professionals are paired with a mentor-mentee, help learn how to start an effective relationship. A lot of big companies used to do this. Some of them still do. It's harder to find, harder to come by. And so it's a really awesome opportunity. Basically, they pair you with the mentor. You get to kind of hang out, chat for 3 months. If you want, after that, you can continue talking. I know a lot of people who've done this program that are still really great friends with their mentors or mentees. And so it can just be it just kind of sparks that initial relationship for a lot of people. And it's a great way to meet people in your area, whatever line of business you do work in, and grow in your career. So I highly recommend checking it out. It's the Rise Mentorship Program. Awesome opportunity. So back over here. Take a sip of coffee. Okay, so this is the Claims Recruiter office hours live stream every Tuesday. We open up the office, try and help job seekers in the insurance industry. The first thing we're going to do today is talk about a topic that I enjoy, that I think is cool, that I use every day in terms of my job as a recruiter. Boolean. Boolean. An awesome word. And then we're going to open up the floor. So without further ado, let's talk Boolean. Curious if anybody out there, anyone in the chat, has ever heard of Boolean, if they know what Boolean is, if they've ever used it. Basically, what Boolean is Boolean is the language in which search engines, you communicate with a search engine. So before I get into it, Brian Fink is like the Boolean wizard. He's a recruiter. If you're not following Brian Fink on LinkedIn, you should be following Brian Fink on LinkedIn. This is his book, Talk Tech to Me. Brian Fink is a amazing recruiter in the space. He has a podcast. He's also written books like this one. He's worked for some pretty cool brands like Twitter, Amazon, excuse me. But I learned a lot of what I know about Boolean from Brian Fink just on LinkedIn Live videos and some content that he's created. And I've since become a huge user of it. Excuse me. And yeah, I use Boolean all the time in my sourcing. And so I want to share it right now, kind of go through a little bit about how Boolean works, how I use it, and then how job seekers can use it to become a magnet for recruiters. And yeah, so basically, check out this book if you're a recruiter. If you're a recruiter out there watching this, I'd be super curious to know if you use Boolean strings ever to search for candidates, to source candidates online. But it's something that I use all the time. I think it's an awesome way to find people. Sales professionals could use it. Anyone can use it for anything. There's lots of different use cases for it. So let's get into it. What is Boolean? Boolean is the way that search engines, it's a language that search engines speak, right? And so when I go to Google, that's a search engine. When I go to Outlook and I'm looking for an email, that's a search engine. When I go to LinkedIn and I click that search bar, what am I looking for? That's Boolean. Boolean is kind of that old school OG search terminology. Now, AI is kind of changing things, and so you wouldn't use Boolean in an AI search. If you're searching Gemini, if you're searching ChatGPT, if you're searching Perplexity, you wouldn't necessarily use Boolean. But I'll talk about how I can use AI to help me with my Boolean searches. And I've tried this, tried Perplexity, I've tried some of these different search engines, and there's some really good paid ones out there where you can spend a whole lot of money and get cool searches. But like, if I go to Perplexity and I search, I want to find the best claims adjuster in New Jersey, it's not quite there yet. Will it get there? Probably. Is there paid options that I can use? Probably. But I can use Boolean for this sort of thing. So before I get ahead of myself, let's talk about what exactly Boolean is. Boolean is the language in which search engines speak or communicate. You can communicate to a search engine. So let's pull up a screen here. Let's hold on 1 second. Let's hold on 1 quick second. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So Boolean is the way that search engines speak, the language we use. So one great thing that we can use, and a lot of like the really basic thing, is these Boolean operators. There's a bunch of different Boolean operators. A couple ones that I use quite a bit are and or. And so it'll make more sense in a second. I'll give you an example. So let's say I am looking for food and I want to go find food. I can say I want this search term and this search term, and in this whatever search engine you're going to use has some sort of algorithm, which we don't necessarily know exactly how that algorithm works or what it does, but we can kind of guess and we can kind of infer. But we're going to tell it which terms we want. And so if let's pretend I'm vegan. I'm not vegan, but let's pretend I am. We're Portland, a lot of good vegan restaurants, and I'm looking for a vegan pizza restaurant. I could look up Portland vegan restaurant. But Boolean is a way that we can narrow those search results a little bit further. So something I might use for a Boolean phrase for that is I might say Portland and vegan and pizza. And that's going to produce results that include Portland and vegan and pizza. And so let's see how this works. Let's see what we can get from this. And boom, right away, got that little AI overview. Like I said, AI is changing these things a little bit, but your typical search result is going to pull vegan pizza, right? So Secret Pizza Society is kind of the spot here in Portland if you want some vegan pizzas. But that's one way we can use this. Now, another operator that we could use is, let's say we maybe want pizza, or I don't know, what do we want? Thai food? Pizza or pasta. And just kind of like in that math class back in the day, we're actually going to put parentheses around this to kind of group this a little bit. And so now we're searching for Portland and vegan and pizza or pasta. Let's see if this works. I haven't tried this yet. Gives us some different spots. So boom, right there, you can see the turning peel's got some vegan pasta type stuff. So that's a quick rundown of just some very basic Boolean phrases. Another thing that we can use is, let's say I'm looking for like a very specific type of pizza. I don't even know, like mushroom pizza. We want mushrooms on our pizza. I can add I can add quotation marks, and then it's only going to pull things that have that exact phrase. So this probably won't be as great as the other ones, but we'll see if we can find. Again, that's a kind of an oddly specific one, but just know that you can use quotation marks to group things together for terms. And so this is going to make a little bit more sense in a second. But yeah, so I'm searching for pizzas right now. It makes not a whole lot of sense. How do I use this in my everyday as an adjuster recruiter? One of the things that I use this for is to find candidates, right? And so it's hard. You can't just go on Google and search finding the best adjusters. But what I can use is Google has an extremely powerful search engine in which I can find terms that are on the internet. And one of the places that exists on the internet is LinkedIn. And every recruiter out there uses LinkedIn. If you're not, it's crazy. I mean, it's everybody's using LinkedIn. And it's a great free place to be if you're searching for a job. And so what we can do is, even if we're not an expert in using Boolean, we can create a Boolean search to find a very specific group of keywords on LinkedIn. So let's get Gemini over here, and let's use Gemini to kind of help us out, because I'm a huge fan of AI. So here's what I'm going to do. Let's say I'm a recruiter and I'm looking for field adjusters in Minnesota. I'm looking for independent field adjusters in Minnesota. It's really cold in Minnesota right now. I walked 50 feet on an airplane because my connecting flight from Austin went up to MSP. And I'll tell you what, that 50 feet from the jet bridge to inside the airport was like the worst 50 feet I've ever walked in my entire life. Just cramping up on an airplane, get outside, it's freezing cold. Lots of pipes freezing up there is all I'm saying. So pipes are freezing, looking for independent adjusters in Minnesota. Where do I go? There's lots of places I go to look, but this is one of the places I go to look. And so this is what you can do. And this is what I do. There's some other places I might look first, but this is something I do on almost every search. That if I'm working with a company that's looking for adjusters or looking for a specific person, I'm out. I think the word is headhunting, right? This is one thing that I do on almost every search that I ever do. I'll go in here and I'll give AI a prompt and say, I want you to create a Google-based search using Boolean operators to help me find independent adjusters in Minnesota. I want to find people with the job titles, and this is where it kind of gets tricky, is because people have all kinds of different job titles, and so I kind of have to infer some things here. So I'm going to say field adjuster, claims adjuster, desk examiner. Why not? I like to just be really broad. What else? Claims examiner, large loss adjuster, senior claims adjuster. That's a lot. Okay, so then we'll say and I want these people, I want to find people located in Minneapolis, St. Paul suburbs. This won't hit everything, but we'll try and be broad. We'll say St. Cloud, Rochester. Boom. Okay, so I'm covering the bases. I've got some of the big cities. You can get more in detail here. And then, oh, just for fun, we'll say, and I want you to exclude public adjusters. So I'm not looking for public adjusters. I'm going to put quotes around that because those are two words that are together that I don't want to look for. So I forgot one thing up here. I'm going to say using Boolean Google-based search to help me find independent adjusters on LinkedIn. This is important in Minnesota. Okay, let's see how Google helps us out with this. Grasping the logic. Come on, Gemini. Gemini is the preferred AI platform of Crew Talent Group and the Road to 100 here. Okay, so here it is. Boom. I don't even have to know all this Boolean stuff, although I have a pretty good idea. So boom, it starts out with site LinkedIn/in. So it's only looking on LinkedIn for LinkedIn profiles. That's what that is. And then it goes in here, parentheses, quotes, independent adjuster, field adjuster, claims adjuster, desk examiner, large loss adjuster, senior claims adjuster, Minneapolis or St. Paul or St. Paul's in there twice. Oh, it's spelled differently. St. Cloud, Rochester. And again, like I'm not hitting every single base here, but I'm getting close. And it's pulling off of keywords in your LinkedIn profiles. So chances are if you live in, if you live over there in, what's another little suburb? I don't know. Brighton, or if you live in Land O'Lakes, chances are you might have that as your city, but you might still have St. Paul or St. Cloud or Minneapolis somewhere on your profile. And it's pulling from those types of terms. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to copy this bad boy, and I'm going to go right into this Google search bar. And I'm going to post that, search for that. And then here's your little tip. Click on this images button and boom. All of these, this is my list. This is where I start. And so as a recruiter, what I do is I'll just add everybody and I'll look at everything later. But here's a list of people that have those terms right there in their LinkedIn, in their profile. And that's one way I'll go out and find people. And so I'm not going to necessarily go in and show you individual profiles right now, but if I'm looking for claims adjusters in the state of Minnesota right now to handle pipe freeze claims, or if I'm an independent adjuster, I want to be on this list. And this is a way that I search for candidates. This is the way that lots of recruiters are searching for candidates. You could just use the search bar in LinkedIn, but they put it behind a paywall. You can only get so many searches for free. Maybe you don't want to pay extra for it. This is a really easy, free way that you can search for people. And we could do this for different types of things, right? I could go in here and make a totally, if I'm searching for someone who's a client that might be looking for someone to work in office in Dallas, Fort Worth, I can look up people with different job titles. And the way that I like to use this is job titles, and then I'll also sometimes add in skills. And so I can look for people with like Xactimate, large loss, or maybe I'm looking for someone with general liability experience or third-party liability experience specifically, or maybe it's heavy equipment or something like that. I can even add in specific search terms for those types of things. And so it's a really, really, really powerful tool. It's not limited just to LinkedIn. And Brian Fink talks about this, especially like tech recruiting. There's all kinds of different sites that you can use, but any website that has public information like LinkedIn, a lot of the stuff, it might be behind a login, but a lot of it, they feed the algorithms, they feed the data generally to a lot of these different platforms pretty openly. So you can find Facebook profiles on here. You can find GitHub profiles if you're looking for tech people. You can search different types of websites. I like to use it to find LinkedIn profiles because a lot of people are on LinkedIn, and so it's something to think about. So all that being said, using Boolean to find candidates to go out and search for people, that's what I do. So if I'm on the other side of the coin and I'm a candidate, if I'm someone that's trying to get hired, if I'm trying to find employers, um, it's something that you definitely want to think about. And let's just pull up my profile. So how do you get optimized? How do I if I'm an adjuster and I live in Minnesota, how do I get to be on this first line, one of the first couple people up here? Because that's really what I want, right? And at the end of the day, I talk about it all the time on this live stream and just if you follow me on LinkedIn, you know I hate job postings. I think it's worthless. I think it's if you're a company driving people to your website, it's fantastic. But if you're on Indeed.com posting a job board, you're getting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of applicants. It's so easy to apply. People are just clicking the easy apply button, and you get 500 applicants for one position. And so you're searching through all these people that have applied to 150 jobs in one day, you know, and it just becomes this giant mess. And so as someone who's looking for work, one of the strategies that I would recommend is it's almost a necessary evil. I'm not saying you shouldn't apply or go on LinkedIn or go on Indeed, but you want to become a magnet for people like me who are out searching for people. So when an adjuster or a claims recruiter is like, hey, I need, you know, I'm standing up a team and we need 10 people in Austin next week. You want to be the first person they think about, or first person they see, the first person that they come across online to show your talents and skills. And this is all, again, free. This costs nothing. LinkedIn profiles are totally free. It's a great advertisement, especially if you're an independent adjuster. It can be an awesome advertisement for your business. So what can you do to improve this? And I'm just going to pull up my own LinkedIn profile. You can see right here my LinkedIn profile, but a couple things. So one, most important thing that you can do to improve your ability to show up online and to get in these types of searches and your visibility is your headline right up here. And that needs to tell people who you are and what you do very quickly. And every time that you kind of pop up, like you can see right here, like this is a great example of of a LinkedIn headline, is you know exactly what Jeffrey does just by seeing his profile. And so even like little widgets like that, you know, you can see right there. It's a perfect little advertisement for you. So you need to lock in a really good headline that shows and tells people who you are and what you do. And so if I'm looking for a adjuster in Minnesota, I should be able to tell here in the first couple lines, like, oh, this is an independent adjuster in the state of Minnesota who probably is interested in hearing from a recruiter if it's going to give them more work, right? So number one thing that you can do to be more searchable online is improve your headline. And the second thing is to improve your about section. And this should just go into a little bit more detail. And honestly, I should take my own advice and really like go on here and improve my own too. But this is part of where those keywords that I was searching from earlier is going to pull from. And so the more keywords you have in here around what you do or job titles that you might be seeking or you'd be interested in, you want to include those types of job titles. Or if you handle large loss claims, or if you know Xactimate, or if you know Symbility, or if you've done multi-building claims, those are all keywords that I might be searching for as a recruiter that you can add right here, and that's going to improve your ability to be found in some of these search engines. And then so we got headline, we've got about section. The third thing that we can do here is this skills section. And again, that's going to pull from that. So all these things together and improving all of it is going to help you. But skills section, talk about the skills that you have as an insurance adjuster. Talk about the types of claims you've handled. Talk about, liability, multi-billing. If you have a specialty, if you have a niche, you can put softwares in here. And that's all going to boost your search results. And the last part that you can do is your experience section. And so again, I should probably take my own advice here and put some things in here, but these are all places that you can add phrases, words, keywords that are searchable online to help people find you. And one of the really awesome things that I see independent adjusters do on here is you can actually add PDFs here. You can add photos here. And so another place that I just absolutely love seeing is when you'll have someone who's an independent adjuster. Let's say they're in Minnesota. They'll put here, independent adjuster, I work claims in these states. Here's the types of claims I handle. This and that, and then they'll have a PDF with a coverage map. They'll have like a CV or like resume type, kind of like an advertisement for their business, and then it all kind of compounds. I go on, I find your profile, I scroll down here, I look, I click on this. Oh, you're an independent adjuster, and here's a little advertisement showing me that you do heavy equipment claims, and here's your claims handling radius. It's all advertisement for you, and I love it. I found so many people this way, and it's free. Again, it just takes time. It doesn't take a whole lot of time. So just to recap, 4 quick things that you can do on your LinkedIn profile to make you become a magnet for recruiters. Number 1, improve your header, your headline. Second, your about section. Add keywords specifically towards jobs and skills that you might have or jobs that you're looking for. Number 3, the skills section. Add in your top skills that relate to the types of positions that you might be looking for. And number 4 is fill out your experience section. And bonus is you can add images and PDFs right here too. So you can put in your coverage map, you can put in your resume, CV if you'd like, or like an advertisement for your business if you're an independent. So boom, that's Boolean. I love Boolean. Again, Brian Fink is the guy. If you want to learn more about Boolean, Brian Fink is where I've learned basically everything that I know about Boolean. About to knock over my computer screen here, but yeah, curious out there if there's any other recruiters tuning in, watching, anybody else, if you've heard of Boolean before, have you used it, what your thoughts on it, is it lame? Yeah, you can use this you can search Facebook, you could search LinkedIn, you can search sites like GitHub, anything that is a public URL that has their information on there. Some places will have a little bit more guarded. So if it's super heavily guarded, like I'm not sure you could search cat adjuster as it takes like a login to get there. But a lot of these sites like LinkedIn, they'll give some of your information, some of the stuff on there. They won't give all of it, but the more that you can add and become a magnet for recruiters, the better. With that, let's open up the floor. This is the Claims Recruiter office hours. I'm drinking my coffee one day at a time. That's my motto right now. That's how I'm feeling. My legs are sore, just one day at a time. Hopefully tomorrow my legs will be less sore than they are right now. My goodness. So let's open up the floor. This is Claims Recruiter office hours, where I open up my office every Tuesday for 1 hour. We hang out here, try and help people find careers in the insurance industry. So if you've got questions, how do you ask them? A couple ways. You can put them in the chat. You can put them in, you can scan this this QR code right here. And then you can ask questions totally anonymously. But yeah, this Claims Recruiter office hours is my goal to help 100 people find jobs in the insurance industry in 2026. Let's get after it. I do have one question from this week. Came in through the forum, so we can start there and we'll see what else comes. Okay, here it is. Just pull up a couple things. Okay, cool. So I keep hearing people recommend industry designations like the AIC and the ARM. These are expensive and a lot of work. Is it worth it for a claims adjuster? Great question. And I'd love to hear some other opinions on that. If there's anyone in the chat who has these industry designations, has it helped you find a job before? Has it improved your ability to get work? How was the process? I do not have any industry designations. It's one of the things on my list that I'm not sure if it's going to happen in 2026, but it's something that I will happen at some point in my career, is getting my AIC. But as a recruiter, I can kind of give you my perspective and what I've heard from different hiring managers and different companies that I've worked with. Um, but I'd love to hear some other opinions on it. If people out there have gotten these industry designations, what your thoughts of it have been. Is it improved your ability at jobs? Has improved your knowledge? But what I will say from my own experience and from what I've heard is that these are absolutely worth it. It's a really great way to kind of take that next step up if you've been in the industry for a minute and you really want to show that you're engaged and that you're into education and that you know what you're talking about. It's there's certifications that a lot of people get when they first come in, or training programs they go through. If they go through the Just for TV program or they go to MOCAT, and that's kind of your great entry level. But you need basic training, especially to be an independent. Um, and then of course like Xactimate is really great. Some of the software type trainings like the HAG, like roofing is a really good training program that you can do to kind of even level up more. The IICRC is another great water mitigation certification that you get, but kind of that next level of of um, training or experience that you can get is the AIC. And so definitely something that I recommend. It's expensive and it's hard, and part of that is it's like a good thing, right? Like it's almost like it's like not having to go to college, but it's an education program where you can get a designation. It's hard because you're learning a lot, and it's really valuable information, and it's things that are valuable to know and learn. And can you learn this stuff without it? Absolutely, you totally can. But it's a super well respected program. Um, it's it's highly sought after, and it's definitely something if you're a candidate that can move you from maybe being considered to being the top candidate. And so absolutely, but beyond that, I would say the biggest value of anything like this, any type of training program that you go to, the biggest value that you're going to get out of it is the education and the knowledge. And that's the most important thing for me is like you want to be more marketable, you want to go get jobs, but you also need to gain skills and experience. And this is a tangible way that you can go out and gain these skills or learn more and prove to people that you have these skills, that you have this knowledge. And so I think it's definitely worth the cost. I think if you work for a carrier, if you work for a firm, if you work full time, a lot of times companies will reimburse you for it, pay for it up front sometimes. So talk to your employer, try and get it, see if they'll help you do it. Sometimes people will have some advice like which tracks to go through, and a lot of these designations kind of build on each other. So you get the ARM, well that gives you credits towards the AIC. So you don't you can kind of get a couple all at once. You get the AIC, that kind of helps you towards the CPCU. And so there's some cool tracks that you can do. You can get a lot of these kind of knocked out in conjunction with each other, and yeah, it absolutely is going to improve your ability to get jobs. So highly recommend. Something I've been thinking about for a minute now, something I need to start working on. Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, curious if anybody in the chat has gotten their AIC, their ARM. AIC stands for Associate in Claims, ARM, Associate in Risk Management. So some really cool programs. Oh, this coffee is tasting so good today. Well, that is my first and only question from the community so far this week. If you got more questions, drop them in the chat. This is Claims Recruiter Office Hours, the road to 100. If you have questions, you can drop them in the chat, or you can also scan this QR code. There's a link to this in the comments, so you can ask questions totally anonymously there. Otherwise, we will go to the wonderful, beautiful, definitely not toxic world of Facebook and some of the adjuster groups to find some more questions. So, see what else we got. This one came from Reddit, and I saw this and it got me excited because I get this question all the time. All the time. People ask this constantly, and so someone asked just yesterday on Reddit, and so I thought it would be something good to kind of chat about. But curious to kind of hear the community's thoughts on this too. Um, local field adjusting versus cat. Which one is better in terms of work-life balance and good pay without overtime? Cat pay. I live in a big city, so there's probably plenty of local work. I have an interview for a local adjusting company staff. So the question basically, the way I'm seeing it, is someone is coming into the industry wondering if they should focus on catastrophe work, local field adjusting, which pays more, which has better work-life balance, kind of the differences between the two. So let's break this down. If you're totally new to adjusting, what is local field adjusting? What is cat work? So local adjusting, and people also refer to this as daily work, but this is your typical kind of everyday sort of claims, right? So your toilet backs up, you get the water back up in your bathroom, it seeps into the ground, goes down below the floor, damages the water, the water damages the boards, you get moisture in there. That's an example of a daily claim. A fire, your house burns down, you have a kitchen fire, that's a daily type claim. A car hits your house, that's a daily type of claim. It's not weather related. So that's kind of what we're talking to. Daily claims, local, also referred to as non-weather claims sometimes, and then cat adjusting, and that is weather claims, catastrophe related claims. Hail falls from the sky, we would consider that a catastrophe. Hurricane hits, that's a catastrophe. A wildfire in California, that's catastrophe. So those are the two different things we have going on here. And so in terms of where to start, which one's better, which one's worse, it just kind of depends on your situation and where you're at and what type of work you're able to get. I would say, to answer the work-life balance question, that's kind of it's definitely going to be daily adjusting, right? You're going to have a lot more work-life balance if you're not on the road, if you don't have to get on a flight or get in a car, drive across the country at a moment's notice. Catastrophe work pays more because you're going to catastrophe zones. There's a hurricane happening, Florida, everyone's driving their cars out of Florida, get the heck out of town. All the cat adjusters, they're driving straight towards it. And a hurricane hits and all the hotels get wrecked, all the Airbnbs are down. So you're going to have like these incurred costs, and you're going to get paid more because of that, because it's harder to go deal with that. If Hurricane Katrina hits tomorrow, you're not going to be able to find a hotel. And so it's going to be difficult to even just get down there. Once you get down there, you're going to have to find gas, you're going to have to find lodging, you're going to have to, deal with not only the fact that you have a job to do, but there's also like you're in a catastrophe zone. And so that's why catastrophe pays more, and it's an awesome career. It's a really great thing, and it's a really great way to go out and help people who've just been impacted by a large catastrophe. And it's an incredible career for people. But yeah, the work-life balance part of it is you might be there for you might go down there, for 2 days, you might go down there for 2 months, you might go down there. I've heard people working for 6 months to a year on one catastrophe. So there's not a whole lot of work-life balance there. A lot of the time you're working crazy hours for an extended amount of time, and then you may have some break time after that. You might go home, finish up claims. But I would say catastrophe work on the independent side, so people who don't work directly for a carrier or a firm, if they're a contractor, an independent, that's where a lot of people get their start. And I will die on this hill that catastrophe is an incredible place to learn how to be an adjuster. And the reason why is you're going to get more training and support when you're on site as an independent, because these one, they need people, and so that it gives them an opportunity to kind of train new people. And the other reason, as a new adjuster, that catastrophe is so great is because you're dealing with the same claim over and over and over. So if there's hail in Arkansas, a huge hailstorm, 60,000 homes are affected, they're going to put you in a zip code, and you're going to handle claims typically in a small geographic area. Sometimes it's different, I know that, but it's going to be a very specific type of building. Like the homes in a geographic location are a lot of times very similar. And so when you go and look at hail claims, you're going to know what the damage looks like, and it's going to be repetitive, and it's going to be the same thing over and over and over and over. So when you're just starting out and learning these processes, it's a really great way to learn because the claims aren't going to differ a whole bunch. When you're working with daily claims, you walk in, you got a kitchen fire, and then you got a vehicle hit the building, and then you got a slip and fall. Like the claims are totally different. And if you're brand new and just trying to learn, it's going to be like learning a whole new thing every single time. Where if you go to Oklahoma and handle like a tornado, all of the buildings are going to be impacted in a similar way. A lot of the construction is going to be this, in a similar geographic area, is going to be the same. And so it's a really way to kind of learn those processes and start to get that repetition and over, and you're going to get a whole bunch of claims all at once. And then on top of that, you're going to have an awesome community of people who are there who are working the same types of claims that you can sometimes bounce ideas off of that. If there's a room maybe where they've got trainers, or even if it's just other adjusters that are in the area also working the same claims, they'll be able to kind of give you tips. They're probably staying in the same hotel or the same whatever area that you're living in for that assignment. And so it's a really great way. The other thing I will say is that if you're an independent adjuster, a lot of times people will come to me and say, "Hey, I live in Dallas and I want to be a daily claims adjuster. I got kids at home and I want to stay local." Well, that's great, and I'm not going to say that it's not possible. It's absolutely possible, but it's very difficult depending on where you live geographically. Especially Dallas is like the capital of claims adjusters. There's a lot of claims adjusters that live in Dallas, and there's also a lot of claims adjusters that are looking for daily work in Dallas. And so you got to think about like your competition. If you're brand new, the reality is there's a lot of adjusters in that area that have more experience than you that are probably going to get those daily claims before you are. Not going to say it's impossible. I see people do it. I see people very successful that do it, but it is very difficult. And so I will say it kind of depends on where you live geographically. I would say if you live in Dallas, you're brand new to it, and you want to stay local, the best route for you is probably going to be working for a carrier. Is go find a trainee position working for a carrier to try and handle local position. Find a job locally for Allstate, or not, one of the major carriers, or even a small regional carrier too. But that's probably the best route for you to make money and to get your first position in claims if you want to do daily work. And then it just kind of depends geographically. If you live in Des Moines, Iowa, you're going to have a little bit better shot to kind of start your career as a daily adjuster because there's not a whole lot of adjusters in Des Moines, Iowa. Or if you live in Minneapolis, there's not a ton of daily adjusters in Minneapolis. And so an IA firm may take a chance on you and give you a shot to go handle daily work early in your career if the need for people is a little bit higher. So if you live in a geographic area like Des Moines, Iowa, or Minneapolis, where there's not a ton of daily adjusters, you may have a better chance as an independent. And so those are kind of the routes you can take. So there's a million different ways that you can go and get into this industry. And so there's not one best way. It's all going to depend on you and your goals and your background and your skills and your experience. But both are great careers. CAT adjusting is fantastic. A lot of people work catastrophe work when it comes, and then I'll try and keep busy at home with daily work. There's certain people that just work CAT, and they might work 6 months out of the year, 3 months out of the year, and make all their money in big spurts. And so it just all kind of depends. We're kind of rolling up here on catastrophe season. It's January. It feels like it's coming. It didn't really come last year. There wasn't a whole lot of large catastrophe work. So that can be a negative thing about working catastrophe. But yeah, both are awesome careers. It just all depends on you and your particular circumstance. And yeah, if you have more questions like this, you can reach out to me directly, and I'd be happy to kind of give you some personalized tips based on what I've seen. Yeah. So claims recruiter office hours, got about 10 minutes left here. I'll keep rolling with some of these questions I find online. If anybody's got questions in the chat, feel free to drop them in. Otherwise, you can head over to this QR code. Link is in the comments. I put it in there. I can't figure out how to pin it. I'm sorry. I wish I could pin this. I think I pinned it on Facebook, but you can ask questions that way too. But yeah, we'll keep rolling. We'll keep rolling here. Let's see. Hi friends, got my all lines adjuster licenses not too long ago for someone just starting out. What is your advice? And secondly, what are some good part-time jobs to start with? So first off, congrats on getting your adjuster license. It's a big step. That is the first step in becoming an adjuster. You officially have your license, so it's pretty awesome. So congrats on that. Welcome. We're excited to have you. But yeah, it's the first step in doing it. So that's big. And again, this is similar to the last question where it's like you gotta figure out what your goals are here. Do you want to be a property adjuster? Do you want to be an auto adjuster? Do you want to work for a carrier? Do you want to work independent? Like what exactly are you going for here? And so depending on some of those things, that's where I would start. Is kind of, what do you want to do? Do you want to travel for work? Do you want to work a desk? Do you want to work in the field? Do you want to work auto? Do you want to work workers' comp? Do you want to work liability? Where are your skills? Do you have a construction background? Do you have a background in automobiles? Do you have a background in healthcare? And so those are some of the questions I would kind of ask someone in this circumstance. So like, what do you want to do? Where do you see yourself? What are your 5-year goals? And kind of start there. Secondly, what are some good part-time jobs to start out with? I would say a lot of positions in the insurance claims world are going to be full-time. For the most part, it's going to be full-time work. It's a full-time job. You got to be available. You got to answer the phone. Customers, policyholders might call, right? And there's just not a whole lot of part-time work. Independent can be kind of a part-time thing, right? If you want to start there, work independent, and kind of go from there. But still, it's gonna be part-time, as in like they're gonna call you and say go to Arkansas. So then you're gonna work full-time. Then you're gonna work 10-hour, 12-hour, 14-hour, 15, 16, 18-hour days. So not a whole lot of part-time jobs to start off with. I would recommend, it's kind of hard, but jumping in with 2 feet and going for it, you're going to have a lot more success than if you try and start out part-time. Let's see, question in the chat. Josh, what are some thoughts on paid sites such as Job Leads? I have not heard of Job Leads, John, so I'm not sure. Job Leads. I'm going to Google this really quick and see what this is. Find a job faster with Job Leads guidance, expert guidance. Be curious to know more. I mean, so my question for sites like Job Leads is, where are they getting the information from? My bet here is that Job Leads is kind of like a what is the big ZipRecruiter, where ZipRecruiter is a platform where you can go find jobs or you can post jobs, but what it really does is it just pushes things out to all the other job sites. So I don't know a whole lot about what Job Leads is exactly, but my guess is that Job Leads probably uses some AI type tool to go out and search all these other different job boards and then pull keywords based on what your search is. And so I can't recommend or not recommend a site like Job Leads without really knowing more, but I just don't. I don't like. I think, bold prediction here, I think that your traditional job application sites like Indeed are going to radically change in the next 5 years. Something needs to happen with them, and I would be really interested to hear other recruiters' opinions on this too, because I know I have a very firm opinion on this, but I just do not like sites like Indeed.com. And again, the reason is you post a position for a general adjuster in Chicago, and you get 500 applications, and 5 of them are qualified. And so you're going through 495 resumes that have nothing to do with any experience. And a lot of these people will go in and they'll kind of game the system. Even they'll put all this stuff on their resume that when you go in and look at their profile on LinkedIn, or you look at them online, or you talk to them, you suss out really quick they don't actually have any experience that they're talking about. And so I've found people, I've hired people off of Indeed actually in the past year. I found someone in Dallas, and the company I was working with hired him, and he's been actually an excellent hire. So like I've used Indeed.com before. I've successfully hired people off of Indeed.com, but for every one person I find on Indeed.com, I'm finding 15 people in other job boards or different ways. And so what I would say going forward, like those types of jobs and applying to jobs is great online, But the number one thing that you can do to get jobs now, I think, is go out and find recruiters, network with people that network in local claims groups, build an online presence, and try and become a magnet for recruiters to help to find you when they're looking for jobs. Because yeah, that's what is my time as a recruiter better spent going through 500 resumes on Indeed.com that maybe 3% of them are actually qualified or even remotely related, or is my time better spent using a Boolean search and going out and finding, like, I mean, just there, if I need, like, that Minnesota example is super real. Every IA firm in the country needs people in Minnesota. It's just a hotbed. They get lots of claims. They get hail in the summer. They get frozen pipes in the winter. And so you go on the adjuster forums, you see it constantly looking for people. And right there, I mean, I recognize some of the names because I've talked to those people and I've hired people from that search that I just pulled in Minnesota. I have gotten people claims from that search. So literally names that I saw in that search just now. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on that. I'm sure it works for people. I'm sure that people do find leads. I'm sure that people do find jobs off there, but that's my feeling on it. I think there's other more productive ways, and it's just kind of a necessary evil right now. I'm really curious to see kind of how the landscape changes with some of these hiring sites. And it's been, even in my career before Indeed.com, it was really interesting. Before the online job boards got big, like the way that you found candidates was so different. When I was back working for the ski area, we just had paper files, and we would go out to local events. We'd meet people locally. Hiring lift operators was really difficult. And so, and then the internet came along and it made it easier and it made it more accessible, and it made it faster. And now it's getting bogged down a little bit, but it'll be interesting to kind of see the way it goes. Someone just getting licensed, I would suggest starting with the carrier at the desk. Test the waters to see if you like claims. Once you have your license, if you like insurance but claims is not your fit, you'll understand deck pages, policy, endorsements, etc. You can always make nice money going in with the E&S brokerage side with your license. It offers growth and advancement. Yeah, that's great tips from John. Working for a carrier, working for a large, small, mid-sized carrier as your first job is a really, really great way to get hands-on learning experience. A lot of times carriers or claims companies that'll hire you full-time will give you more robust training. The independent side, you'll see a lot of training programs online. You'll see a lot of people advertising it. You see the advertisements online. All you need is a truck and a ladder, and you're going to make 6 figures. And I think it's a little more nuanced than that. It's a little more difficult than that. It can take a long time to get going. It can take a long time to get claims. If you got your license last July and are trying to be an independent adjuster, chances are you're probably having a difficult time right now because there wasn't a whole lot of storms. And so working for a carrier is less weather dependent. It is going to pay you less money. It's going to be entry level. A lot of times they're going to start you out potentially hourly. Sometimes you'll get a salary, but it's a good learning experience. You got to think of it as like an investment in yourself, and then you can always pivot. If you get a desk job, work that for a couple of years, it's going to be a heck of a lot easier to go independent and make really good money that way too, if that's the way you want to go. Again, not to say you shouldn't go independent, and if your goals are different, it all kind of depends. But I think John nailed it right here. It's a really good way to start, especially if you live in an area that has a good insurance environment. If you live in Dallas, Texas, it's going to be a lot easier to go get a job working for a carrier. Just saw, I think online, Geico is opening an office there right now and hiring hundreds of claims reps. So if you're new and looking for a job in Dallas, go check out Geico right now. But yeah, there's tons of insurance companies with offices in Dallas, in Atlanta, in Chicago, in Alabama even. So yeah, it's great advice. Let's see, we're going over time, but that's okay. I got one more here, and then we'll call it. Do you think the IA industry, this again from Reddit, do you think the IA industry is going to be as slow in 2026 as it was last year? No, I don't. I really hope it's not. This is how it works. IA industry is very based on the weather. And I know there's changes with technology. I know there's AI. I know uh, the ladder now exists. I know Seek now exists. I don't think that they are taking our jobs away as independents. I think that it's changing the landscape, that's for sure. And actually, I like some of these companies that do some of these inspection only things, but I do think that especially for niche specialized claims or large catastrophe events, IAs are going to have lots of work. Again, it's weather dependent, and we all know that last year there was a record low number of claims submitted uh, due to weather. And so, yes, I totally think 2026 is going to be bigger than last year. Do I know that for sure? No, I can't predict the weather, but it's going to happen. Statistics tell us that storms happen. It's very rare that no hurricanes hit the United States in a hurricane season, and so that was a big spot where we didn't see as many claims. Hail season last year wasn't as big as it normally is. I think weather patterns are changing. It's really warm here in Oregon. Global warming, whatever you might think, we're seeing some kind of odd weather patterns here over the last couple years, and so it's always kind of changing. I can't predict what's going to happen, but I can predict that it will be unpredictable. And so I think it's going to get busy. I think we'll start to see some spring storms. I think we've already started to see some things here this year. I think we saw some wind and some hail in Oklahoma, Kentucky. We saw some up here in the Pacific Northwest. We've seen historic flooding in the last month. It's been crazy. I wish it was 10 degrees cooler and we would have seen some historic snowfall, and that would have been really cool for me to go skiing on, but instead we all got rain, and that's been terrible. But that produced a whole lot of claims up here in the Pacific Northwest. So yeah, I think it's going to turn around here. It's going to get busy. Buckle up. I feel like we're all saying this is going to be just a crazy year. Everyone's, but we'll see. No, I think you see these slow years. You also see these when carriers decide to go more staff, and it's all in cycles. They'll go more staff one year, and then they'll realize that they've got too many staff, and they'll go heavier in IAs the following year. So we see these kind of cycles that go on, and we're kind of in a down cycle last year, and so we'll start to see it kind of come back around here. So yeah, I think 2026 is going to be big. I think it is more important than ever that we have skilled, qualified, experienced adjusters out there working, and that's part of what I do, and that's why I'm doing this show, is to help bring people into the industry. Because my wife works in cancer treatment, and it's the same thing. Like, oh, AI is going to take away a lot of these jobs. It's like, who wants to go in for a cancer treatment and have a robot? No one wants that. And I think it's similar with claims. Like, you still want the service aspect of it, and I think that's one of the most important parts of being an insurance adjuster, is the service aspect of it. These insurance carriers, what are they selling? The policies are contracts. The policies themselves are all similar. So what are you selling at the end of the day? You're selling service, and that's where you see companies like State Farm kind of at the top, is they've been known to have really good service. And say what you want about State Farm, I know people may have differing opinions, but they've been a company that's known to have very great service. You have a claim, you have a localized agent who you can call. It's going to help you out. It's going to help you file your claim. You're going to have an adjuster who knows what they're doing out on site. So that's what these companies are selling to their customers. And I don't think robots can take away that service component. Can they make our jobs as claims professionals better? Absolutely. But the IA world, the claims adjuster world, is here to stay. It's as important as ever, and it's going to be what separates kind of the not so good companies from the great companies, is the level of service from the people on the ground handling the claims, and that's us. So yeah, well, that's it. We're 7 minutes over. I'll stay here all day if we got more questions, but if you're still here, thanks so much for joining. Hope you learned something here today. Hope I was able to help you out. If not, I'll be here next Tuesday. Again, this is the Claims Recruiter Office Hours. I'm Josh. Thanks so much for joining, hanging out. We'll be here next week. So yeah, you have a great week. Go crush some goals. Go run your half marathon. Let's get after it. Have a great week, everybody.